During the start of the new year and also at the tail end of last year, there was a lot of YouTubers putting out videos for upcoming electric vehicles that are coming to the market. And what I found was most of the time they centered around brands that were new brands or brands that didn't have dealer networks, that smaller companies, startups, things like that. Companies like Fisker, Lucid, there's a few others that are producing electric vehicles for sale that YouTubers find sexy and get hits. But if you're like me and you look forward to your next paycheck, the price tag associated with those cars is out of reach. The Fisker is a little bit different, but if I'm a person purchasing a vehicle, I probably want a dealer network behind me that just gives me the comfort of knowing that if something goes wrong, I can pull into a dealer and get something repaired. Absent Tesla, which obviously dominates the electric vehicle sales market. If you're not aware, they sell more than half of the electric vehicles on the planet. One company, Tesla. So absent Tesla, you can go look up Tesla, and I'm not a Tesla hater. I've got a Tesla in my garage, and great cars. We've got a Model 3 Performance that does great on road trips. We get about 285 miles out of it. And the supercharger network is the gold standard for electric vehicle road tripping. So there's nothing wrong with Teslas at all. In fact, I'd probably recommend it. They can be a little bit pricey though. So other car companies have started to embrace with fervor the electric vehicle market because they see the trends occurring in places across the planet, like China. Norway is very heavily electrified in their vehicle fleet. Something like 80% of new sales is either fully electric or hybrid electric. And it's because of the way they've structured the government subsidies. It makes it very difficult to purchase an internal combustion engine car in Norway. It was just a decision they've made in order to be environmentally conscious and also more efficient with the energy decoupling from foreign petroleum, things like that. They made a decision as a populace to alter the course of the country, and they've been very successful in doing so. But anyway, places like that, car companies see a dramatic shift towards electrification, and they've started to produce electric vehicles. Okay, so if you're like me and you look forward to your next paycheck and you want to get an electric vehicle, here's options from major car manufacturers besides Tesla. By all means, look at Tesla if you wish, but these are also available. Ford, the American car company, has a derivative of their Mustang model, and the Mustang has been around since the 60s, since Lee Iacocca was overseeing a transition, and the Mustang has always been wildly popular as far as a model goes in the Ford lineup. But they've made a crossover family SUV out of the Mustang model that's all electric, and they call it the Mach-E. I do see these around, and people have a pretty strong following for Mach-E enthusiasts specifically. I think it's what they're considering themselves to be is the non-Tesla alternative. And it's a nice car. I mean, if you look at it, it's a family sedan. It's perfectly serviceable. But the F-150 Lightning is the one that's taken all the publicity during 2022. And I saw a YouTuber take a road trip on a Ford F-150 Lightning all the way up to northern portions of Alaska, where there's basically no charging infrastructure whatsoever. It was really an epic road trip. It was awesome. But this is on the new electrification platform that Ford has engineered that allows for a vehicle to also charge your home during a power outage. So you could take this truck and plug it into something called a vehicle-to-home charger, and should your power go out, the energy that's stored in the battery of the vehicle then can keep your refrigerator running and allow you to heat up your ramen noodles in the microwave, even though the utility power is off. General Motors has the Chevrolet Bolt, which has been around about as long as the Nissan Leaf. So its technology is older, and you can see it's a smaller vehicle, which is what you'd commonly think of an electric vehicle back in the day being. They have a larger version of this called the Chevrolet Bolt EUV, which is a little bit longer, and you might call it a subcompact hatchback or something, I don't know. But that's older technology. These ones here are all built on what they call the Ultium platform, which is a new electric vehicle technology. There's actually a whole suite of products. Ultium is also going to be a brand of DC fast chargers at Pilot and Flying J locations, starting to go in the ground this year. So they're calling that the Ultium 360 network. There's also home electrification systems similar to what Ford has underneath the Ultium brand, that is products that you can get from General Motors as well. So the whole electrification product suite is branded underneath Ultium, which all these cars have. The Bolt does not. It may in future versions, but right now it does not. But the Equinox is it's going to be hitting the edge of the envelope for lowest cost electric vehicles. Its starting price is supposed to be right around $30,000, and it's made in the United States, so you get tax credits. And if you count your pennies exactly right, you could probably get a new Chevrolet Equinox for $22,000 and change. And that's a very inexpensive starting price for a new car. It comes with bells and whistles like adaptive cruise control and an electronics suite across the front panel. So it's a nice car, great bargain. Everyone's been talking about how much of a bargain this car is going to be. And it's a small family sedan. Looks very serviceable and is probably going to be very popular. Trailblazer has been re-engineered to be a lower roofline, and as you can see, it's more streamlined. Not very expensive, fully electric. And then the Silverado, which is competing with the Ford F-150 Lightning. So these two are going to be workhorses in the United States as the electrification continues. It's supposed to have over 300 miles of range, which is better than the F-150 Lightning. Similar types of product features to the F-150 Lightning, with being able to power the house when the power goes out. So there's a lot of anticipation for this starting to hit the roads. The Cadillac Lyriq, I don't know if anyone else has ever owned a Cadillac, but they're always very quiet on the interior cabin, and they do that deliberately. They engineer decreased road noise penetration into the cabin. So it's always a very luxurious experience to drive a Cadillac. They've gone a step further with the Lyriq to have what's called an active noise reduction system, which uses the speakers inside the car to kind of create a noise dampening similar to what you have with headphones that have a noise cancellation feature on them. In my opinion, it might be a little bit too quiet, because if you get super quiet, it starts to get a little bit uncomfortable just how quiet the thing is. But, there's going to be no engine noise. There's going to be very little road noise, and then an active noise cancellation system. But the price of this is supposed to be in the low 60s as a starting price. However, all of them have been sold already. So you can't get one. They're already all completely sold out for this model year. You have to go into 2024 to get one. There's a fifth one, which is the Hummer. But I didn't put that on here because it's over $100,000. It's crazy expensive. It's a rich person's toy. It's not a very practical electric vehicle. Volkswagen has embraced electrification. There's a little bit of shakeup in the politics of the leadership of Volkswagen Corp. But regardless, they've got multiple models out, and the inertia is very clear in which direction they're going. They released the ID.3 a while ago, and the ID.4 was being made in Europe and brought to the United States. However, they've opened a plant in Chattanooga, Tennessee to produce these for the North American market. A lot of people who own these complain about software bugs. And they just released a update for the software where you have to go to a dealer to get it updated. But they definitely have some work to do on the software inside this vehicle. But regardless, with the numbers that they're going to be churning out in the Chattanooga plant, they're bound to fix it. And this is going to be something that you're going to see all over the place. I see one driving up and down my street. Someone in my neighborhood has one, and I see them out on the road also. The ID.7 is a family sedan to compete with the Tesla Model 3, but at a much less cost than the Model 3. Similar range and fully electric. Should be a car that becomes pretty commonplace. And then the Volkswagen bus has been electrified into the ID.Buzz. And this will also be probably a very common family car in the coming years. Volvo has said that they're going to be completely electric by 2030. And last year they came out with the XC40 Recharge. I've got one of these sitting in my garage. It's a great car. And then the C40 Recharge, which is the coupe version. You can see the back is kind of slimmed down, but it's basically the same car, just a little bit more sporty. Then there's also going to be the EX90, which is similar to the XC40, except it has a third row seat. The range is going to be over 300 miles. And it has this LiDAR system sitting up on top. A lot of the cars that do automated driver assist use cameras down here on the front panel. And the problem with that is the geometry. You don't have a lot of angle to see the road ahead, but when you put it up here, you've got a bigger angle to see further down the road, and it improves the reliability of the driver assist systems. So that'll be coming out. It's not too expensive. I think it's going to be, actually, I shouldn't say not too expensive. It's going to be a luxury family sedan. It's got third row, fully electric, 300 miles, this LiDAR system. So it's going to be about $75,000, $80,000, something like that. Kia has had the Niro for a while, and then the EV6 came out last year. And I don't know about anyone else, but I see these cars all over the place. They seem to have really taken off well. There's a GT version of it that apparently is supposed to have a faster acceleration 0 to 60 than a Lamborghini Diablo. So goes to show that when you take a transmission out and you drop torque from a battery into an electric motor, you can really get some speed out of the thing. Hyundai Ioniq 5 has become the poster child for the new breed of EVs that are around. This car has won all kinds of awards. Great car. It doesn't have the center hump for the drivetrain since it's all electric. And as is common with electric vehicles, the wheelbase is spread out. Since the battery is on the bottom, it has a low center of gravity, and the wide wheelbase really makes for a comfortable ride. So it's a great car. If you're going to be doing road trips, it charges really fast, reliable, and you have the Hyundai network behind you to provide any type of support. But very little maintenance is needed on the thing. No oil changes, obviously, or things like that. The Ioniq 6 is the family sedan, again competing with the Tesla Model 3, which is highly anticipated. It's going to be a little bit more pricey, but not exorbitant. Hyundai is kind of known for being an economy brand, and the pricing associated with these three cars all lines up with that. The Ioniq 7 is more of a minivan style, and this picture doesn't really do it justice, but it's a bigger car, more blocky, similar to the XC40 Recharge, fully electric, and priced as you would expect from a Hyundai. So if you're like me and you're one of the 98% that looks forward to your next paycheck and you're thinking of doing an electric vehicle change with your next purchase, these are major brands that have options for you.